All right, everyone, get ready because today we're cracking open Think and Grow Rich and pulling out those golden nuggets, especially from those excerpts you sent over. You know, the ones from the Spanish edition.
It's really something else, seeing how this book just breaks through time and languages, like it's speaking to something, I don't know, like something we all share, this desire for wealth, for success.
Right. I mean, almost 100 years later, and it's still so relevant. Different cultures, different languages, doesn't matter. This book still hits home.
It's more than just the money though, right? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, that's a big part of it, but it's the way Carnegie lays it out, like there's this secret he's letting us in on.
Like he's holding the key right there, and we're
Yeah,
just
yeah, sure.
dying to grab it.
Exactly. And one of those keys is the story of Edwin Barnes. This guy, he was just on fire to work with Thomas Edison. Talk about aiming high.
No kidding. But Barnes, he was nobody special, right? At least not in the beginning.
No money, no connections, didn't even have a fancy degree.
Yeah.
But boy, was he determined. He even said, get this, I will burn all bridges behind me.
Wow, talk about commitment. There's no turning back for him. But it wasn't just blind ambition, was it? He had a plan, right?
Oh, absolutely. He didn't just wish to be around Edison, he decided he would be. And that's what fueled him. It took him 5 years. 5 years. But he finally became Edison's business partner.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's persistence. It proves Carnegie's point.
Yeah.
You can't just want it. You got to define exactly what that it looks like and then go after it relentlessly.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And speaking of persistence, you know what story comes to mind? Darby and that gold mine.
Oh man, that one's almost hard to read. To be that close to striking it rich only to just give up. I think we've all been there, right? That fear of failing right before the finish line.
We're only human, right? But Darby, what's amazing is that he didn't let it break him. He used it, fueled him. He said, I stopped 1 foot from gold, but I will never stop again. And you know what? He didn't. He took that experience and became a wildly successful insurance salesman.
Another zinger of a quote. It's not about never messing up. It's about never letting that be the end of your story.
Exactly. You got Barnes and Darby, both hungry for wealth, but they highlight something so important. It's all about action. Yeah, aligning that desire with action, that's what it comes down to. Both of them, Barnes and Darby, wanted wealth, but it's the ones who took that desire and turned it into something real. They're the ones who made it.
Like they say, a goal without a plan is just a wish. You can't just sit around hoping for a pile of money to fall from the sky.
Exactly. And that brings us to, well, I think this is an important point. Belief, right? It's not enough to just, say you believe you'll be wealthy. You got to feel it. You know what I mean? You have to really live it, breathe it. It has to be a part of you.
So this is where the story of Henry Ford comes in, right? With his V8 engine. The guy was unstoppable.
Exactly. Think about it. His engineers are telling him, impossible. A V8 engine can't be done. But did that stop Ford? Nope. He even said, I want that engine and I'll have it. That was it.
He wouldn't let anyone tell him what he could or couldn't do. He just knew it was possible. That's powerful stuff.
It really is. It's like Carnegie says, our minds, they're like these transmission towers, sending out thoughts. And those thoughts, they can actually shape the world around us.
Okay, I gotta admit, that sounds a bit out there, even for me. So, is that like what they call the law of autosuggestion?
Bingo. That's it. It means basically that the things we think about the most, the thoughts we keep replaying in our minds, those are the ones that end up shaping our lives, for better or for worse. So feed your mind with positive thoughts, focus on success, and you're way more likely to achieve it.
Hold on. So if I'm constantly thinking, I'll be financially successful, that's gonna like make it happen.
It's not magic, right? It's about getting your mind, your subconscious, on board with your goals. But here's the catch. This law, it's a double-edged sword,
Wait, so the opposite is true too. If I'm dwelling on negative thoughts, bad things are more likely to happen.
Unfortunately, yeah. And Carnegie tells this story, it's actually quite sad, about a bank teller who was completely terrified of losing his job.
Oh no.
And guess what? He ends up stealing money. It's like his fear became a self-fulfilling prophecy, He let it consume him, and it led to his downfall.
That's a pretty stark example of how powerful our thoughts can be. It's a little scary, honestly. It makes you realize how important it is to really pay attention to what's going on in your head and try to keep things positive.
Couldn't agree more. And this leads us to the more practical part of Carnegie's book, the 6 steps he lays out to turn that desire into, actual wealth.
It's like a roadmap, right? A guide to go from just wanting something to actually getting it. And since I know our listeners love some actionable advice, maybe we should focus on the first 2 steps since they're so, relevant to what we've been talking about.
Definitely. All right, step one. And this might sound simple, but it's crucial. Define exactly how much money you want. Not just a vague, I want to be rich, but an actual number. Be specific.
Interesting. Why is that so important? I mean, why not just say a lot of money?
Think of it this way. The universe, call it what you want, but it responds to clarity. You got to be specific, Align your energy with a clear target.
Got it. And step 2.
Okay, so you know what you want, right? Now you got to figure out what you're willing to give to get it.
Okay, so it's not just about, receiving. It's about providing something valuable in return.
Right. It's like a two-way street. You're basically saying, this is what I'm aiming for, and here's what I bring to the table.
It's about understanding that success, especially when it comes to money, it's not about luck or, feeling entitled. It's about giving something back to the world.
Exactly. And, that actually ties into another big idea from Think and Grow Rich, this whole concept of specialized knowledge.
Right. Carnegie's big on that. Knowledge on its own, it's not enough. It's how you use it, How you turn it into something real, something valuable. That's what matters.
Think of it like having a garage full of tools. You could have the best, most expensive tools in the world, but if you don't know how to use them, what good are they?
It's like owning a Steinway, but not being able to play chopsticks. Which reminds me of Henry Ford and that whole ignorant genius thing, right?
Exactly. Ford's a perfect example. I mean, he didn't know everything about everything. But when it came to cars, building them, understanding how they worked, he was a master.
He was laser-focused, but he was also smart enough to surround himself with people who knew the things he didn't, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's his mastermind group in action. He brought in all these different people with all sorts of skills and knowledge, and together, they were unstoppable.
It's a good reminder that none of us can be experts in everything, right? But we can be smart about finding the right people who can fill in those gaps.
For sure. Knowing how to tap into that collective intelligence, that's a game changer no matter what you're trying to achieve.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We talked about really defining what we want, believing in it like crazy, and then going after it with everything we've got.
We dug into this whole law of autosuggestion thing, the importance of having that specialized knowledge, and how powerful a mastermind group can be.
A lot to think about. But if there's one thing I hope you take away from this, it's that achieving your goals, especially those financial ones, it's not about some, magic formula.
It's about understanding the principles Carnegie lays out and actually applying them consistently day after day. And of course, believing in yourself and your vision. That's key.
It's about getting your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs all pulling in the same direction and never being afraid to reach out, collaborate, tap into that collective genius.
And hey, if this deep dive piqued your interest, you really should check out Think and Grow Rich yourself, especially that mastermind concept. It's fascinating stuff. Who knows, it might just be the key to unlocking your own success story.